from different places, we all have different names. No matter what life brings us, Jesus is the same. We're just your Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Hi,
I'm Beth.
I'm Tim.
I'm Jessica, and we're just your everyday
Methodist to the madness.
Hello, podcasters of America.
Are you talking to us? Oh, you're talking to all the other.
I'm talking to you and Beth, the number one podcast hosts of the world.
You include you,
That's
Jessica. Right. We're the three amazing.
I'm the supporting actor in this role as podcaster number 3.
We're supporting each other.
I did not get the Fran Drescher role, so I'm going to continue as podcaster number 3. But good to see you guys. How's it going? How's this past week been going? Other than it's been kind of chilly where I'm at, but how about you guys?
Where are you? You
right
must
in front
be
of your air conditioner. Is that where it's been chilly?
You got it. Hey, how about we take an ice bath? Because that sounds great. It'll turn into a sauna in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, no need to worry about your what is it? Your beverage being too cold. You put too much ice in it. Just stick it out into the outdoor area, and your ice will melt, and you'll have a nice warm drink.
I put ice in my water at home to bring it to room temperature. It's so hot out. We should just make this whole podcast. It's so hot out, and then one of us says, "How hot is it?" And then we just say stuff for an hour.
This is actually the weather forecast episode. We're doing regular updates on the weather forecast, just like they do on your favorite news network. Hey Beth, hey Jessica, what's the weather look like outside today?
Well, Tim, buckle your seatbelts because it is going to be a scorcher. Be careful when buckling your seatbelts if you're just getting in your car.
Right. Be careful touching your steering wheel because your hands might be burned. No, actually, that's a good safety tip. So when you get in the car, you might actually want to turn the car on for a little bit and monitor the car, put air conditioning on. And I don't know what I do about the seats. Maybe my pants are impervious to the heat, but my hands are certainly not. So I turn the air conditioning on where I'm going to hold the steering wheel, and that cools down the steering wheel enough to where I can actually drive without burning my hands. It's very exciting.
I'm not doing that. I'm just like, get in the car, turn on the air conditioner. Oh, the steering wheel's hot. We're driving with 2 fingers for now.
Right. 2-finger driving.
Now I can put my whole hand on the steering wheel because it's not so hot.
Hey, you use 2 fingers to like hold chopsticks or something. So you're doing like a driving exercise to practice your chopstick holding.
Sometimes I use chopsticks instead of my fingers to steer the vehicle.
I believe that.
Yeah, but that's just because I'm also multitasking and eating ramen in my car at the same time. Because there's nothing better on a hot day like today than a hot bowl of ramen in your lap in your hot car.
You know what's funny though? I had soup for lunch today.
Really?
I did. I've been like
gazpacho.
What?
Was it gazpacho? Because that's a cold soup.
It was not gazpacho. It was Panera's broccoli cheddar, and I had it in a bread bowl because I've been going through like waves of I'm feeling really good, and then all of a sudden I'm like, bam, nope, this lady needs to sit down and take a nap. And it's weird because I'm drinking so much water, and I feel like I'm just retaining all of this water, and I'm like, where is it going? It's not going anywhere. And so I'm just like, anyway, I feel a lot better than what I did last week. But boy, oh boy, the body is an interesting thing, y'all.
Yeah.
The body really is a miracle.
Yeah, I speaking of the body, I switched off the keto diet and now I'm eating like carbs for my energy source. So it's interesting that you mentioned that about the body, Jessica, because it's been an interesting few days. I've had I don't know. Wait, you were talking about one thing, and I'm talking about another. Which one of us was supposed to do our update?
Well, I was just gonna say we just switched into the update portion, and Tim, you just went right in with yours.
Oh, okay, okay, sounds like a plan. I was thinking,
Jessica.
Jessica was hinting at it. Wait, who's going to take it? Are we going to do the coin toss of wonders? Or
take it. Let's hear about how you're using carbs for energy now.
Okay, I'll pretend that I won the coin toss of wonders. So basically, so I'm going to put out a disclaimer and that I'm not a doctor, but I do read.
I thought you were this whole time.
I do read a lot of like nutrition advice from different like doctors' blogs or doctors' like websites and stuff like that. And so I was reading this one article about how carbs can actually be a more effective energy source. And overall, you have a little bit less stress, like operating wise, just on a daily basis than you do on keto. And because of that, it's like there'd be days where when I was on the keto diet, I would just be like extra tired. And I knew like deep down that it had to do with being on keto. But so that I just ultimately decided that maybe I'll give this carbs thing a shot, even though I know there are some benefits to keto as well. I'm just going to see what this lifestyle is like. And I don't know, like it's been pretty crazy the last week because I've been trying to figure out how like portion wise I'm going to do this. And like I like to do one meal a day still. So I'm like basically carb loading now and I'm not even an athlete. So I'm just eating like 4 cups of rice now. And I do this thing called sequential eating where I eat like the most watery food first. So I'll eat vegetables first and then I eat rice second and then I eat protein last. And that seems to make it so I can like not only eat more food in one meal, but it also helps my digestion. So that's how I can pull off the carb loading thing without having any real issues. But I noticed that rice is extremely extra filling if you cook it with too much water, probably because the water just like fills you up. Like, you know how you have like water weight or something after you eat, like you feel like bloated or whatever. That's what happens if you cook rice with too much water. I guess it's harder to digest or something. So that was an interesting experiment, but it's so nice having a rice cooker. I could just like put like 2 cups of rice in there and like have it ready in like 15 or 20 minutes. It totally beats using a stovetop. Because with the stovetop, I'd be like, okay, I put way too much water, but I'm just gonna like cook a ton of rice. And then I have like all this rice for leftovers in the refrigerator. And then I eat it for like multiple days. And then like, I know the rice is going bad because it starts getting like just all like cake, like not like actual cake, but like cake together. And then it doesn't even really taste like good anymore at all. So it's totally like a game changer to have a rice cooker. And I only spent $20 on mine. It's an aroma, like One Touch. And if you put too much water in it, it actually, the thing is so intelligent. I don't know how it does this, but it's like, oh, are you cooking soup? Here, I'll turn off prematurely. And then you have to press the one click again in order for it to somehow figure out that it was rice that you were trying to cook and not soup. But now that I'm cooking with the right amount of water, it just cooks it just fine in one go, and I don't have to press the button again. So that's the first big update. So
like you were making 2-touch rice, Tim.
Yeah, 2-touch rice. Yeah, at first I was making 2-touch rice for like 4 days or something, and then.
All right.
But yeah, so that was the first major update, and I'll probably after like another week, I'll I'll have like this is a lifestyle that I can live with, or I'm going to go back to the keto diet, even though I have some like days where I'm a little extra tired. So leading into something else that I discovered. So I watched this really good movie over the weekend called Blue Lock Episode Nagi. And it was actually one of those anime movies. And I was talking to Beth about this when I was volunteering for VBS with the decorating and stuff. And I'll get into that a little bit. But I wanted to say that this movie was so interesting because the main character was like super like dissatisfied with his life ultimately, like just regarding challenging things. He just wanted to play video games and like relax and not really do anything productive. Like he figured that everything productive was just like a hassle or work. And so there's this one person that's like, hey, you have talent in soccer, because he caught his phone with his foot after his phone fell off the stairs. And basically, it was a really inspiring movie because this character, Nagi, he kind of like tries to figure out what is so compelling about soccer that these players go out with like this really inspired or overall like extremely optimistic attitude on the field. And it was just such an interesting like psychological process that he went through. And he was actually able to like understand himself a lot better. And it was so inspiring for me to like watch this whole show that I started thinking a lot differently about work, and not so much like the education of the will kind of mindset where you want to idealize work and so forth, like just as like a virtue. But I'm kind of looking at it as like a necessity and a good thing, and you can inspire yourself to do things that require effort. So like, I'm thinking that you can kind of be in like an effortful mindset where like, okay, I'm in a relaxed mindset right now. I'm just watching TV or playing a video game or reading a cool book. But you can actually get into an effortful mindset where you decide that, okay, I'm going to do this work because it's going to benefit me. And or I'm going to exercise because it's going to benefit me. So instead of putting everything into a box, like oh, this is the work box and this is the play box, you instead think of it like, okay, this is the time that I have a relaxed mindset, and this is the time that I have an effortful mindset. That I'll do things that require effort, and I'm happy to do that. It'll benefit me, and I'll enjoy it. So that was a really interesting insight that I came to, and I think it might really help me with like everyday activities like chores or like, I don't know, laundry or work or going to the grocery store, stuff I really don't really want to do after work or something. But if I just change my mindset a little bit and adopt an attitude for effort, then that's pretty cool. So lastly, I did the decorating with Beth, and it was really fun. I didn't do a whole lot actually. It feels like I did though. I cut all of the little tentacles for the jellyfish. Created all of those, and that was really exciting because there were all these like different colors that you could attach to the jellyfish. And then what was the other thing I did? I wrote down a quote from Beth. About how she would not want to be a surgeon because she would not want to mess up the patient's hair, because we were talking about hair cutting before this, and I have no idea how you came to that logic, but it's extremely hilarious.
Well, because we were talking about haircuts, and I said that I wouldn't want to be a hairstylist because it was too much pressure and I didn't want to mess up their hair.
Oh.
And then I said that's the same reason I don't want to be a surgeon, because I don't want to mess up their hair. Anyway, there's a whiteboard in my office that had just a bunch of random quotes that either I said or Miriam said. And then someone else who was helping with the VBS decorations looked at the board and said that it needed to be erased because there was too much stuff on it and it needed to be started over. So we did erase it, and that was the first quote from the new one. Other quotes. Other quotes include, I think this was just a couple days ago, I hate every second of this. Beth. That's something that I said when I was working, apparently. And then one time I said to Miriam, how do I do anything, Miriam? And she just said, it's impossible. Which is stupid. It's not really that funny unless you're us and we think everything's funny. This is my favorite one that Miriam has said, though, which made me laugh really hard. We were talking about something on Facebook, and I was going to leave a comment on like one of the groups I was in. It was a public group, but I didn't think it would do any good. And she said, I know better than to get involved with the public. Her words have never been spoken. Anyway, Tim, did you have anything else you want?
Yeah. One thing was, I don't remember any of the jokes that I made, but I was just constantly trying to make jokes while we were decorating. And at one point I came to the realization that maybe these jokes are funny for me and everyone else because, I don't know, like it's something about like our group or just like the United Methodist Church, like, or maybe I am a funny person, or maybe these jokes are just funny for us. I have no idea. So, yeah, that was an interesting realization. I mean, I actually have contemplated doing like stand-up comedy before. I don't know if I could actually pull it off. And like I'd have to like script the whole thing, but wait, scripting the whole thing wouldn't work because
that's what the comedians do most of the time. They prepare their stuff ahead of time, and then they try it in front of audiences. And a lot of comedians, how they do it is they'll go up with like new material that they haven't really used much, and if people like it a lot, they'll keep those jokes and they'll keep working on them. But if they don't like them, then they get rid of those jokes.
Oh, okay.
And Mike Birbiglia on his podcast, Working It Out, he did live shows during COVID, and it was on Zoom. And like he would have people have their microphones on so he could hear them laughing, and he would say, "Now remember to laugh if you like a joke, because I get so many people who ask me, hey, what happened to that one joke? I really like it, and I'm here to tell you." The reason that joke's not in here anymore is because of you. Because you didn't laugh at it. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And we should take an improv class. I keep trying to get anybody to take an improv class.
Really? Wait, they have improv classes?
You have to go to LA, and they're at dumb times, but I really want to do it.
Oh, wow. Wait, LA, like how far is that? And do they have it during the weekends?
It's 15 hours away. No, Los Angeles is about an hour away, and they do have them on Saturdays sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Probably the only time I'd be able to do it.
Right. Yeah. Same here. Well, that's pretty neat.
Sunday,
yeah. Maybe if I can, what is it? Have something available. Wait, that made absolutely no sense. Something available in my schedule. I mean, time available in my schedule. Then, yeah, that sounds like a really good opportunity. That sounds like fun.
Let's get the whole church in on it.
Yes.
Improv.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Hey, speaking of that, I'm hoping that we have a Christmas pageant this year. Because the Christmas pageant is so fun and nice, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it just depends on Lisa and her brilliance and her time if she can incorporate that into the schedule. But yeah. But that's it for my update. I can't think of anything else.
Man,
Jessica,
what do you have, Jessica? You were alluding to something earlier.
I don't remember. But
that was 3 hours ago.
approximately 3 hours ago. Yeah. I am feeling a lot better than last week. And after the podcast had ended, I reached out to Beth's spirit animal, Leslie Hall. I messaged her and I told her about that, and she responded back, and I was happy to share that with Beth. So it's good that we're making history together and, changing the world by telling people how cool they are sometimes.
That's great.
Yeah. More items. Let me see. Amber and I are going to Costa Mesa just Friday night. We're going to be there Friday night and then come back on Saturday. And I'm glad that we planned it that way because it's going to be approximately 1,000 degrees this weekend. So we will want to be back to tend to our animals as soon as possible. So, but yeah, so we're excited to, hop back on the hopeful starting a family train, and that should be good. And
yeah.
Let's see, what else? I did want to share that in last week's episode, we talked about how it's difficult sometimes to reflect Jesus in the midst of daily struggles and challenges. And that was something that I know we all could kind of relate on, is like, how to reflect Jesus in times when like we're maybe having a panic attack or we're just like in the middle of chaos, right? And I got a really nice message from Pastor Jim regarding that, and I wanted to share it with you guys, and I hope he's okay that I'm sharing this. And he said sometimes that, the reflecting Jesus in our struggles and all that kind of stuff, showing that we're not perfect, can be the best witness. Authenticity, honesty, transparency. We love people the best we can, despite everything else going on in one's lives. Hopefully others will see our heart, even when we don't have it all together like we'd like. So I thought that was nice to...
That's awesome.
Kind of hear, and it was reassuring for me. And I think for me, the one thing I realized, and I'll kind of get into this further down in the sermon feedback, but just kind of authenticity in general, being authentic in ourselves. And so, but
that's
don't want to
huge.
spoil the sermon feedback.
I know. I actually had some jokes that I wanted to share, but I was waiting until sermon feedback.
Cool. But yeah, that's it for me on my end, though. So,
thanks, Jessica.
Yeah. Beth, what about you?
What do you have, Beth?
Oh, okay. Well, Saturday was the decorating thing where we made decorations and had a lot of laughs in my office. If you don't come into the children's ministry office and if you come in the children's ministry office and don't laugh, I failed as the person to make you laugh in the children's ministry office. That's my real job. Not children's ministry director, but just,
right. I believe it, Beth, because every time I'm with you, I'm laughing at something. I don't even know. Like, oh, here.
That's the job I don't get paid for. I'll give you invoices later. It's fine. And then Sunday night, I had a much needed float in the pool time with Miriam. That was fun. And then
that's nice.
Yeah. And then Monday, which seems like a long time ago, but it wasn't. It was only 2 days ago. I took Ricky Bobby to go visit Lucy and her boyfriend Jeremy, and she is doing well. So I don't keep this podcast a secret from people, but I also like deal with the fact that I think it's embarrassing to tell people that we have a podcast. I don't know why. It's just like, I think it's the vulnerability that you're like making something and putting it out there.
Right.
With that vulnerability is that other people will eventually hear it. And so, I was telling Lucy on Monday when I got there, I'm like, I don't know what the plan is yet because I have to, we usually report our podcast at 6:00 on Mondays. And she was like, I found your secret podcast and I listened to it. Like, not a secret.
Secret podcast.
But I can't remember exactly what she said. I think she said something like she found her name in the podcast somehow. And I think she listened to the episode where I shared the update of her cancer being no evidence of disease.
Oh,
and
okay.
So she said it was sweet to, give her.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I don't remember what she exactly said. And now she's going to listen to it and be like, that is not what I said.
What?
I said this verbatim. And then she's going to sue me for
defamation of character.
Is it libel or slander if it's a vocal medium? I know one is like tape written and one is out loud talking.
I would say it would be more like slander.
Yeah. So
slander. Okay.
Our career as podcasters is over. I'm so sorry.
Oh wow. Oh
This
my gosh.
sad.
It's one of those things like you go to the classroom like you're a little kid or something and you're getting written up by the is that what happens? The teacher writes up a student or something or
yeah. I was watching an episode of SpongeBob today where SpongeBob took Patrick to boating school with him. Patrick had never been to boating school, but SpongeBob Patrick inadvertently got SpongeBob in trouble by passing a note that was a picture of Mrs. Puff, and it said "Big Fat Meanie" on it.
Oh my gosh!
And he got one of his gold stars taken away because of it.
Wow!
And he was really upset.
Oh my gosh! Well, I don't think
what's going to happen to us. I'm just kidding. The last thing I'll tell you is that yesterday I saw that a new Despicable Me movie came out or something. So I asked, and Owen has this weird obsession with Minions. So I was like, let's go see Despicable Me 4. And then like both of my kids wrote back, do we have to see that one?
What?
Like, oh,
maybe it got bad reviews or something?
No, it's that I have teenagers who don't want to see dumb kid movies anymore. I think is probably what it really is. But they tried to beg me to watch the Garfield movie, which I was like, no, I'll see anything but that one. So I looked to see what movies were playing, and they made a third Quiet Place movie. I don't know if you two have seen those movies, but they're both really good, the first two, but there's scenes in both of them that I absolutely cannot watch again.
Oh, okay.
And the third one wasn't so bad, but there was one part where they did a jump scare, and I did yell out loud in front of the whole theater. So
I think that's totally called for, actually. If you yell out during a moment like that, it'll actually add to the experience for the other audience members.
Oh, it sure did. They laughed at me.
Oh my god!
But in my defense, go see the movie. And if you're wondering how the cat fares, if you're an animal lover like me, but I don't want to tell anybody spoilers, just ask me and I'll let you know about the cat and whether you should see this movie.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Thanks for the recommendation, Beth.
It's called A Quiet Place Day One, and basically it shows like basically what happened before the first movie started.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice,
it's kind of like a prequel kind of thing, but it was good. Anyway,
yeah. Speaking of movie recommendations, if somebody is not averse to anime, I think there are people that are averse to it. In other words, they like anime or really like anime or something. Then Blue Lock Episode Nagi is an excellent movie. It's one of the best anime movies I've seen in a while, and it's a spinoff from the original series. So you don't have to know anything about the 24 episode original series. You could just watch that movie as a standalone movie and you won't be missing anything. It's a really great soccer movie, and the characters have like these really serious expressions at times, and there's really funny things that happen too. It's all like heated and like people's eyes are glowing and stuff like that.
Ooh,
it's neat.
That sounds scary.
No, not scary.
I'm just kidding.
So, did we get to the weather forecast part of the episode?
Yep, we're all gonna die.
Actually, it is kind of funny. In our before we started filming here, Jessica's like, "Hey Tim, look at the weather report for the next few days. You might be pleasantly surprised." And I looked at it, and it read about 110 degrees every day. Crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be so hot. How hot?
How hot is it going to be?
Is it like fry an egg on the cement hot?
That my chickens just lay their eggs and I crack it open and have a hard-boiled egg.
Jessica, are you taking the improv class with us?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Jessica,
Anyway.
do we have any church updates?
Yes.
No, the church is fine. Everything is still afloat. The air conditioner is mostly working. No, we do have a few things going on at the church. And one thing to keep your eyes out for the youth, you should have just received an email from Pastor Jim regarding upcoming youth events for July.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free if you have any questions about that. July 14th, we're going to be at the church on Sunday. And then July 20th, we're going to go to Dry Town Water.
Woohoo! Dry Town. No need to go anywhere else but Lancaster to go to a water park.
It's Palmdale, though. You do have to go to Palmdale.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it is Palmdale. Okay, but not LA or Anaheim or anything.
Don't let the name fool you. It's pretty wet there, so bring a swimming suit and a towel.
Yeah. And then by the time this is released out to the masses, you'll have already participated in Bell Choir, and you'll be on your way to Rick Hill's house for a dessert potluck. Watch the fireworks. So just for the in-betweeners, that's tomorrow. July 4th, which is also known as the 4th of July, and you can participate in a wonderful conversation with people through dessert, the potluck, fireworks. So those are our updates for.
Wait, we have one more.
What?
And then we have one more just in. Beth,
This just in. This one for Amber and for you, Tim.
Oh, really?
We have the quilters and the crafters meeting this Saturday.
Oh my gosh!
The social hall, or as I'm going to be calling it from now on, the friendship hall.
Yay!
From 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So if any of you want to learn how to crochet better or to learn how to knit on a machine, Tim, I would suggest coming.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Or if you want to do something that doesn't involve me helping you. Oh, another thing, I'm going to try to have a bunch of craft kits made up that you can take home so you can help with VBS decorations.
Oh, all right. Perfect.
It'll have the supplies you need. I'm going to assume that most of you have glue and stuff at home, so I'm not putting that kind of stuff in. But it'll have the supplies that you need minus glue and scissors, and then instructions on how to make whatever is in your bag of supplies.
Awesome.
So stay tuned for that. That's all.
Yeah. Actually, the United Methodist Men, I think, are meeting as well.
I forgot about that because I don't identify as one of them. So,
that's understandable.
So I just forget they exist.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So every time we say we're referring to the United Methodist Men.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Well, let's head into Beth's ministry moment. Beth, what do you got for us today?
Well, do you remember how I said that if 10 of you signed up, what did I say? If 10 of you signed up to help with VBS,
Tim would shave his head?
Tim would shave his head. No,
wait, really?
No, probably not.
No.
I think I said I would dress up all 4 days as a scuba diver.
Yeah, that's right.
I have great news for all of you.
You're going to do it?
I have not gotten a single person to sign up. So
no way.
Maybe one, but not through the podcast.
Oh.
So, okay. I don't really want an excuse to dress up as a scuba diver. No, I think I did want an excuse. No, I was going to dress up in a wetsuit. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. And I'll call myself Scuba Steve. I don't even care, you guys. Scuba Steve.
You could also call yourself Scuba Bethy.
Scuba Bethy.
Scuba. Scuba.
Anyway,
Scuba.
So Beth's ministry moment is she needs a lot of help with VBS, both before the day and also during the 4 days of VBS. And inquire within, and I'll give you a package of goldfish crackers.
Yeah. Hey, I'm looking forward to the goldfish crackers.
Tim, you're already on board. You don't get goldfish crackers.
I know.
Yeah, you already signed up.
Wait, what about a Twinkie? Do I get a Twinkie?
No, that was well, do we have any from last year?
We do, but they're green now for some reason.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, is that a new brand? Green Twinkies?
I think it's green for seaweed for
yes.
Here. Yep.
Nice. Yeah. So, well, hey, Beth, to clarify, so you were looking for people like kids to sign up to get 10, or are you talking about volunteers?
We do need kids to sign up. Right now we have about 3 kids signed up, and we need at least 3 more.
Okay.
And by at least 3 more, I mean we need way more than that. And also, please help with VBS. We can't run VBS without the help from listeners like you.
You're pointing at listeners. Actually, no, Beth is not pointing, but
I am not pointing. I'm pointing with my eye. Okay.
We see that she's pointing with her eyes right now. So you need more volunteers, in other words. Like you said that
and bring your kids too.
Yeah, the kid. The kids can volunteer too.
Volunteer your kids too.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Well, that leads us into our
church
updates. And
wait, we already did church updates.
I think we did church updates. Yes.
Sermon feedback.
Okay.
And I'm really excited to talk about sermon feedback this time around. So I wanted you guys to go ahead and start first on things that stood out to you within this past Sunday. Just to kind of recap, this past Sunday, we had our sermon on a lot of different things. There's 3 different topics that we dove into, but the focus was our Wesleyan heritage to infinity and beyond. And we read in Colossians chapter 3, verses 12 through 17. And I loved all of the topics that we discussed because I learned so much.
Yeah, me too.
And so I wanted to get both your feedback first, and then I'd be happy to kind of dive into my perspective.
So the first thing that I want to say is we must pose the question to each other: is a hot dog a sandwich?
I feel that it is not.
Agreed.
I agree that it is not a sandwich.
I actually read somewhere that it's not a sandwich, it's actually a taco.
Oh, yeah. You know what?
So,
I could go with that.
I'm
it's a
going
taco.
with a hot dog. I'm not going to go with that either. Never mind. Let's not eat hot dogs because who knows what's in them.
Right. Exactly.
I'm just going to avoid hot dogs altogether. I'm not going to answer the question. I'm not going to eat hot dogs.
So that means that, like, if I invited the 2 of you to go to Wiener Schnitzel, then Beth, you would opt out on that prospect.
I'd get a beer.
Yeah. Don't they have other options?
They do.
What, Wiener Schnitzel?
Wait. Oh, wait. I was thinking of the doghouse. They don't have. Let's go to the doghouse. Let's not go to Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh, okay.
I don't want anything from Wiener Schnitzel. But yeah, they probably do have other options.
Right. Yeah. The other thing is, so that leads into like other questions. Like, okay, so you like when you peel a banana, do you peel it from the top or do you peel it from the bottom?
Anybody who's not peeling it from the top is wrong.
Do you peel it from the top or the bottom, Jessica?
If it doesn't break at the top when I snap it off of its other friends, and I try to go from the bottom because I heard
get that dumb thing out of the way.
Because I heard that's the actual way to open it is through the bottom.
What?
I disagree.
Wait, how do you do that though? Do you have to like cut it or like, wait, how does that work?
You just do the same thing you do at the top, except it's on the bottom.
No.
But doesn't it like kind of disrupt the whole like banana or something if you were to do it from the bottom?
I always make an indent with my fingernail and then peel the whole thing down. So I just assume it would be the same.
Right.
I just Googled it, and let me tell you.
What?
The correct way of peeling a banana.
I believe it's however you choose to do it that works best for you. Is
it even has instructions.
If you don't know how to peel a banana without instructions, I don't want to live on this earth anymore.
So
I'll let the listeners Google it. And
yeah, now I want to Google it. So probably after we're done recording.
So
yeah, the other thing is, so when you peel an orange, do you cut the orange and then eat the orange like from the peel, or do you peel off all of the orange peel and then you eat it that way? Because obviously, you know how they have those orange slices? Yeah.
You peel off all of the orange peel, including like the weird white stuff that still gets stuck on there. But really, don't eat oranges at all because that peeling is too thick. Stick to the cuties.
Oh, yeah.
There's not as much white stuff and they're easier to peel.
Right. Yeah, those are clementines, I think, right?
Or mandarins.
Yeah, mandarins or clementines. Or I don't
cuties.
know. Yeah,
I said cuties. That's didn't I?
Yeah, I think Beth said cuties. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beth is always
Let's roll the tape back. No, I'm just kidding. All right, that's all I had for sermon feedback. And
but yeah, those were the main one. The main they're not really jokes. I guess they're like debating points that just happen to be funny or something potentially, unless it's a big point of contention. Like you're doing it wrong. The banana.
That's me. Who shames people for doing it in a way that I don't do it? I'm just kidding.
Well,
I did take a sneak peek to see which was correct, but I'm not going to change the way I do anything because I'm too stubborn. If that gives anyone an idea of what the right way is.
Well, on this note, as John Wesley would say, we're going to pleasantly and politely agree to disagree on some of these fruit-related prospects.
Politely agree to disagree?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be polite, but we can agree to disagree. Okay. Indeed. Yeah, so on a more serious note, I thought it was really cool that the United Methodist Church in general is kind of paving the way for all these different like social issues, particularly what's going on with LGBTQIA plus and how like basically they've taken out those like references to homosexuality and making it just like a neutral kind of like put a tent over the entire church kind of like ideal. And like I think it's just really admirable and awesome that there will be like pastors in various United Methodist churches that will marry gay people. I think that is like kind of allowing for like a higher acceptance across the entire United States for other churches that the United Methodist Church is taking such a bold stance on that. So I think that's really cool. And then it was also really interesting. I was kind of curious about the United Methodist Church and how like it came about, because like Pastor Jim was talking about the Episcopal Methodist Church. And then there were like other references regarding Methodism in the United States. And I was really unsure about like what, like how we had all these different Methodist churches and then they just came together to make UMC. And now I know like it had to do with like the whole like racist the racism thing that was going on and slavery and so forth, or basically to put it in better terms, like discrimination, how like there's a sense of unity. And now we didn't have to have the schism between the two groups of Methodists, but they could come together. That was really neat. And then finally, that is awesome as well about how women play a really big part in the United Methodist Church, and that also sets the United Methodist Church apart from other churches, and kind of like paves the way for like a better understanding for all churches in the United States. So I think that's just a really like amazing thing about the United Methodist Church, how like welcoming they are and accepting they are to like people that want to follow Jesus and want to live a spiritual Christian life. And like loving one another and you know, Palmdale UMC being inspired by Jesus to love is their mission statement. So I think that's so cool, and I'm just really happy to be a part of the United Methodist Church. I feel blessed and so grateful that I discovered this church and started getting involved in it, and if I hadn't got involved in it, I wouldn't have met the two of you. And that's just been an absolute blessing. So,
you know, it's been over a year since the idea of this podcast was had.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about it during VBS last year, in between.
Yeah. Hey, did we? I was actually wondering about that. Did we have a podcast episode where we talked about like how we came up with the podcast? Did we actually cover that?
I think we did I think we did early on, but I don't think it would be a bad idea to a 1-year anniversary, because I think we started in September.
We did.
I think it was September, or something. Yeah.
I think we should have a very special reenactment episode of how this podcast came to be.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
And we'll just make up something like the Weird Al movie, if anyone that.
Can we use weird voices?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm really happy about that. That would be very
good. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. That was I think it for my sermon feedback for the most part. I'll probably chime in if I have something else, but either one of you can jump in and provide your wonderful feedback.
Well, I was going to admit that I did listen to the sermon, but I listened to it on the way to visit Lucy, and it was at 2 times the speed, because sometimes I do that if I haven't started listening to it enough to. And then so I listened to it, and then I told myself I was going to give it another listen, and really just focus on it better, but I didn't do that. But
I know I say that all the time. I want to listen to it a second time. And
but Tim, just from what you, and I was I don't even remember what it was about, but just from you talking, Tim, it helped me remember.
That's great.
And now I remember what I was going to say. I actually, at the last church that I went to, women are not allowed to,
really
be anything, they can't be pastors or
that's right,
or anything like that. And in fact, they follow the apparently in the Bible, it says that women are not supposed to teach men, and they really follow that to a T. And I'm I think we can learn something from anybody, man or woman. And I'm saying this as a woman. So anyway, it was a huge selling point for me when I moved to Palmdale United Methodist Church, and there was a woman associate pastor.
Yeah.
So when I first went to Palmdale United Methodist Church, it was Pastor Angela. Pastor Angela was the associate pastor. And then she left, and then it was Pastor Aaron, who was also a woman and an associate pastor.
Wow.
And then Pastor Aaron left, and Pastor John came, and I was determined to hate him because he wasn't a woman. And, he ruined the woman pastor's streak. I don't know. and I remember being a little disappointed that it wasn't a woman again who was going to be the pastor, but I knew before Pastor John even came to our church that I was going to like him, because Kathy had met him. Kathy Ankeny met him at camp, where she was a small group leader, and she knew him before he even came to Palmdale United Methodist. And she said that while I'm sad that we have to say goodbye to Pastor Angela, at least we get somebody like Pastor John. And I was oh man, if Kathy likes him, then of course I'm going to like him.
Yeah.
But now that guy's gone, so we don't have to say nice things about him anymore.
What?
Just cut all of this out of the podcast, please. Thank you. Anyway, I guess that was my big takeaway.
Well, no, I think that's wonderful, Beth. And like I was saying before, it kind of makes the United Methodist Church special. In that, really just like an amazing thing, very validating. I think for just about like anybody that's a spiritual person that wants to connect with God. And you know, so here's something that kind of brings to light the idea that maybe eventually some more churches will like have women be like pastors and things like that. And that's like, hey, you know, we don't have any churches that are doing slavery right now, right?
That's
And
true.
in the Bible, it actually has guidelines that talk about slavery. So we're not like doing that anymore. So why would we have like some strict guidelines about women not
I
being able
know.
to participate in like certain parts of the church? Like it just seems
Right.
off to me. So yeah, like I think
Yeah.
the United Methodist Church really like moves based on social change, and that I think is really wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to mention one more thing. A couple Sundays ago, when I wasn't at church, we had gone to Marlene Rodriguez's church. She used to go to PUMC, but now she lives in Tehachapi and goes to a church there.
Mm.
And we visited her church on that Sunday that I wasn't here. And not only was their senior pastor a woman, she was also married to a woman. So
Wow.
So
Was that within the United Methodist Church?
it's not it's a non-denominational church.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
and it's just this really cute, small, adorable church.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I envision that would probably be the case, that we'll find maybe if it's not the case now, it will be the case in the future that we find a United Methodist Church that has that exact situation where we have a female pastor who's married to another female.
And
yeah.
and there
absolutely.
probably are all, across the country.
Yeah, I think so.
Across the world. I don't know.
Yeah.
The world of America. Yes.
The world of America.
The world of America.
Across the globe. That paper. Globe.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah,
Jessica.
Jessica, what do you have for us?
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story.
Tell us the story.
I mean, obviously, someone that's part of the queer community, I've been super open about it. I wear a pride pin on my guitar strap when I've, helped Dawn with worship. And I'm a huge advocate for, even the, part of the youth. Like, part of the reason why I want to be youth leader was because we never had somebody when I was younger that I could, look up to, that loved Jesus and was also part of the queer community. And so that's, I want to be a safe space for the youth. And, this past Sunday was really emotional for Amber and I because, at the end of the sermon for the 11 o'clock, if you listen to the 11 o'clock sermon, you can tell that Pastor Jim gets a little bit emotional. And
yeah, I noticed that.
He talked to us after, and I just told him he did a really good job. And, that he was like, I started to get teared up because I started thinking of you and Amber and, more members of the church. And, for me, it's like one of those things where I've spent my entire life, I'm 37, I think. And, I've spent most of my life, growing up in an environment of like a Christian environment, Lutheran and non-denominational and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just want to, like, just growing up, I knew there was something different about me, and I wanted to be able to relate to my mom. I wanted to be able to share the same faith that my grandfather had always instilled in me, and same with my grandmother. And because they made it seem like it was such a peaceful place to be. And I strived for a good portion of my life just searching for that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I experienced a lot in my life, you know, dealing with who I was, trying to really figure out, like, am I gay or is this sin? You know, like from what growing up in the church was, it was
Yeah,
you're going to go to hell and all these things. And I kept fighting with it. Like, well, how are people telling me this when I can feel God so close to me? And how can I have these two things? Like, how is this possible? And in high school, I would just be in my room at night and I wouldn't go out with friends. And my mom was kind of worried because I was always in my room and I wasn't, you know, socializing with people. And it was just this battle of wanting to please the Lord, but also trying to find myself. And I mean, I don't know if anybody knows, but I wrote an album when I was a senior in high school, and my church helped produce that, and I got it mastered, and I had 1,000 CDs made, and I had a huge, I mean, I've sold, I don't even think I have like 10 left. I mean, I sold a good chunk of those in high school, and you know, that was kind of like my songwriting and career as like just an artist was through that to start with. And after high school, it was like I really was trying to figure out that dynamic of how am I supposed to, you know, how can I be a Christian when all these Christians are telling me that I'm going to go to hell if I feel this way? And I couldn't really understand how I felt because I had nobody around me that was gay, and I had nobody around me to kind of give me that language. And so, you know, as my life went on, joining the military, all that kind of stuff, you know, at that point I had already come out. You know, I was like 20 years old when I came out to my mom, and it was that continuous battle of trying to figure things out. And going back to, you know, kind of what Pastor Jim had said about authenticity, I, you know, was reflecting a little bit based off of this past Sunday sermon and realized I didn't authentically love Jesus until I authentically loved myself and became my authentic self.
Wow.
And that was such a powerful thing to realize, because as you get older, you realize more and more who you are and who God has made you to be. And you can really dive into your relationship with Jesus. I mean, if that's what you want. And for me, I think that's like the biggest thing is my relationship with Jesus has never been better than now. And how amazing it is to be married to somebody who encourages me and has the same desires to please the Lord at the end of the day. You know, I feel so blessed. And for Pastor Jim to share his, you know, his alignment with, you know, the United Methodist Church and how he's wanting to be inclusive. And it made us both emotional. And at the end of the service, we shed some tears, and it was so special because it was this full circle moment where it was like almost validation for me. Like, you were right. You know, when you were in your bedroom all along, you know, all alone in high school, and you were trying to figure that out, it was like, you were right. You knew that Jesus was with you, and how dare other people tell you that you were going to be going to hell? Because,
yeah.
And so for me, it was, you know, just this powerful thing. And so for anybody who is feeling like they're not good enough to be, you know, to have a relationship with Jesus, or if you're surrounded by people who are telling you, you know, something differently in regards to where you're going to end up when you die, just know that Jesus would never desert you, and he will always stand beside you and carry you through the storm. And so this past Sunday was pretty awesome. That's kind of, the long and short of it. So
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Jessica. And I think you're absolutely right that Jesus would like be there for like anybody who asks for him. I mean, like he, how he was in the Gospels. He looked to the people that we would normally consider not the most like best place in society. Like he would be there with tax collectors and other sinners that the Pharisees would like say something about and stuff like that. So like basically Jesus is there for us in general. And I think that like basically it's just a full on misinterpretation for us to like demonize anybody for any lifestyle that they have in general, especially something that like is exhibited in LGBTQIA plus, where like it's genuine love for someone else and like both parties are like love the Lord. I see absolutely nothing wrong with that. And so it's just like a huge deal in our society that like churches will like judge people just because of something they don't agree with. And that's not the way that Jesus would want us to live. Like he wants us to love our neighbor and love God. So like that does not include judging our neighbor like other people will do from other churches. So yeah. I mean, I totally agree that it's like really validating. And I think that's amazing that you had an experience like that in the United Methodist Church. And I can relate, like not so much in the LGBTQIA plus perspective, but as like a former atheist who like found myself like not able to believe the same way that everybody else believes. And like every time that I would talk to people about it, they would be like, oh, well, this and that and so forth. And I really didn't feel understood regarding how I was thinking about everything. And I kind of had to find my own way to God. And I like when I was like questioning and everything, I was just so passionate about God and religion and everything. Something kept drawing me back to it. And I think it was God. So kind of like that experience that you had where you, despite the fact that everybody was saying something a certain way, you still felt connected with God. Like you felt that something was amiss. And so I'm super happy that you found that in United Methodist Church. And I found it in a different way, but I also found it in the United Methodist Church.
Yeah.
Well, what I wanted to say is, first of all, I'm really sorry that you felt that way when you were younger and you didn't feel like you had anybody that you could talk to about it. But also, I think that you needed to go through that to get to where you are today.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I wanted to say is, and I'm sure you agree with me, I don't view homosexuality as a sin.
I don't either.
But even I find the phrase hate the sin, love the sinner to be a little problematic, especially when it comes to homosexuality, because it's basically people are saying, I love you, but this whole thing,
right,
it's your whole identity and who you are as a person. I don't believe it's correct. It's a sin. You're going to hell. But, however, having said that, Jesus was hanging out with the sinners and the tax collectors.
Right, yeah. Soon as I'm glad you said that, Beth, because as soon as I said that, I'm like, okay, wait, this is not exactly how I want to say it. So thank you so much for clarifying that.
But do you think that Jesus was telling the sinners and the tax collectors, you guys are all going to hell?
Right. Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
No.
He was still trying to teach people to live like he did.
Right.
And feel like all of us are having some issues with that.
Yeah.
Right.
We should
Exactly.
always try
Yeah.
to be better.
Yeah. Like basically he was focusing more on like showing love and care towards everybody that he met.
Right.
And then also he would have like helpful messages like the food and drink that you have in this world is it's temporary, but if you accept the food and drink from me, then you'll never be thirsty and you'll never be hungry. And then like he'll have other things like take up your cross and follow me. And
believe in the Lord Jesus and you will be saved.
right, exactly, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to do a quick plug regarding, I know I've said this before, but that documentary, 1946, The Mistranslation That Shifted Culture. That documentary talks about how in 1946, that is when the word homosexuality entered the Bible. So before then, it was never there.
So maybe it was like a different word, basically, like a more general kind of like word that described like. Okay, I see. Like it would be something like
translations say sexual perversion,
right?
But it was never originally translated. And I know Pastor Jim has shared too. There's so many different interpretations, and I think the stance on that word, it literally shifted an entire culture because it alienated an entire group of people.
Yeah,
and it created a negative culture within the Christian community.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that.
No.
That because and so for me it's like, man, anytime I get a chance to like educate with somebody, I mean it's because it's huge, because that's a lot of time their basis of, well, in the Bible it said, well, no, like, do you know what translation, like, what are we talking here?
Oh my gosh. Jessica, that makes absolutely perfect sense, because when I think about the entire, like, I don't know what you would call it, like, I guess for lack of a better word, the entire list of what would be less than what Jesus would want us to do, like basically sin. I would like think of sexual perversion and like murder and so forth, like putting it together in that way. But homosexuality, like in and of itself, should not be part of that list. It doesn't even make any sense for it to be.
Right.
Especially considering like the way society is, and we have loving and consensual like marriages within society. That's not sexual perversion at all.
Right. So I think that ends up going into people's personal biases and their own perspectives that they, go from there. But you're able to watch the documentary online. If you just type in 1946, The Mistranslation That Shifted Culture, the option is available. It's like $13 and you have 7 days to start watching it. And then once you start watching it, you have 48 hours to finish watching it. So it's received a ton of, positive feedback from the film festivals. This did come out in 2022. So anyway, something to look into.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Jessica. And basically, I just kind of like concise, like sequel to what I was saying before. I mean, Jesus wants us to live a life worth living and showing love to our neighbor and love to God. And so, like, everything and anything that aligns with that is how I see the Christian message. And so, like, for like loving couples, whether they're like gay, straight, like transgender or whatever, and they're like loving God together, I think that's like in perfect alignment with what the Christian life is supposed to be. And yeah, because like sin is actually the idea of missing the mark. I think that's what it actually stands for. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I see like everything that we would want to be doing in the Christian life, like doing our best for God, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this leads us into prayer requests. Anybody need a prayer? Anyone want to give a prayer and then take a prayer? No prayers this evening.
No,
no prayers given, no prayers taken.
Me, Methodist. Goodbye.
I think it's just a simple kind of thing for me. A prayer for me to kind of like be centered and balanced with like my new diet, and kind of also continue to have that attitude of like being able to do things that require effort with a positive attitude, like kind of just take on an effortful mindset. And also, I guess a prayer for everybody to stay safe out there with the fireworks.
Yeah.
And like whether it's like you're using your own fireworks, or like maybe you have some sort of reactions to the smoke from the fireworks, like just take precautions. But also that like a prayer that nobody like experiences some sort of inconvenience or discomfort from either the fireworks or the heat, because the heat is just crazy. So hoping that everybody can like feel comfortable in all of that. So yeah, that's what I have.
Good. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Beth?
I'm gonna add to Tim's a little bit. I would like prayers that people with dogs are able to keep their dogs safe during the fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know that sometimes they get scared and run away. So prayers for all the animals tomorrow, and, you know, until like December, I guess, because they just keep doing the fireworks like until December.
Well.
Sometimes like lots on the 4th of July, and then like every day after until their fireworks are gone, I guess. I don't know. So prayers for those animals out there.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I'm still just like really struggling with any kind of productivity.
Oh, so you and I are kind of like can relate to each other.
Like, what is work-life balance? Like, I don't know what that is. Like, I can either put everything into work and nothing else, or put everything into nothing and nothing else. But I can't fill up each slot equally. Like, I can't put a little bit in the work slot, and a little bit in the cleaning my house slot, and a little bit into spending time with my family slot. It's either like one of those things like gets everything and everything else gets neglected, or just everything gets neglected. Those are my modes, and I need those to not be my modes.
Right. So exactly.
I know that that's not how this works. So just prayers that I find the motivation to do anything at any point during these next several weeks. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Beth. Actually, if you would be so kind, I would like to take that prayer for myself.
I did put it in the take a prayer, leave a prayer.
Oh, that's nice.
Box for you. So,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
What do you have for us, Jessica?
Just prayers for safety this weekend. I really don't want there to be fires, and prayers for our animals, because they're hot. And I mean, we're doing as much as we can, but just prayers for I don't want any animals to get sad from the heat and end up, really sad. So that's kind of like the biggest thing. And that hopefully this weekend is the last time we have to go down to Costa Mesa area, because that would be awesome. But yeah. Other than that, I think one more probably from, I'm going to guess, Beth. Do you have one more?
I was just going to ask you if you had any room in your kitchen for more animals, if they need to.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? We had brought them outside a couple days ago, and then we went out there today, and they were like, when chickens are hot, they open their mouths and they're like, they move their tongues. They're like, oh, and they just go everywhere. And so we're like, gosh, they're too young to be this stressed. And so we
that's what I say about myself.
Yeah, just like all of us, we're too young to be stressed.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, seriously.
And so we ended up bringing them back inside. And so, yeah, they're kind of like at the nice hotel right now. And we've been needing to get our fence done, but it's so hot.
Oh, gosh.
I hate it.
We'll probably finish most of the fence on like Saturday is my guess. Maybe like towards the evening.
Yeah.
When it's only like 80 degrees.
I know.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say something about the next week we'll have a weather forecast episode after all or something.
Maybe so.
No, but yeah, that's good, Jessica. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. But that's it though.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything is perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyways. Well, until next time.
Stay mad, you Methodist.
Different places, we all have different names. No matter what life brings us, Jesus is the same. We're just your Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness.